My wife and her best friend accused me of having an affair, then got angry when I didn't have one.
I, 31M, and my wife, 29F, had a baby last December. It was a traumatic birth, and my wife developed postpartum depression. She had originally planned to return to work after the baby was born, but she's been struggling so much that we decided she'd stay home until our daughter turned 1 and then reassess. She's been going to therapy weekly. With her being home full-time, I've had to work longer hours to support us. This was something we discussed and agreed on beforehand, and she understood what it would mean. A few weeks ago, my boss offered me a big project that would require a lot of overtime over a short period. It would be great financially and for my career. I talked to my wife about it, and she agreed that I should take it. We arranged for my mother-in-law and her best friend Jessie, 29F, name changed, to help with the things I normally do at home. Jessie is a stay-at-home mom with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. She started coming over during the day to help my wife and keep her company while watching the kids. 3 weeks into the project, it became clear we'd need a few more weeks to finish it. I went home that night and discussed it with my wife. She said she was okay with it, but afterwards she became cold and distant. Given how things had been since the birth, I didn't think much of it and tried not to take it personally. During the last week of the project, I came home late one night and saw Jessie was still at the house. I greeted them both and went to check on our daughter. Before I reached her room, I heard Jessie say, "He doesn't even stop to greet you. Definitely a sign." I turned around and asked what she meant. My wife started crying, and Jessie began accusing me of having an affair. She said I must hate my wife because of her postpartum depression, and that I wasn't attracted to her anymore because she'd gained weight after pregnancy. Neither of those things are true. I've been doing everything I can to support my wife, and I still find her beautiful. She just hasn't wanted to be intimate lately, and I haven't pushed. Jessie demanded to see my phone. I told her no. She said that was a sign of guilt. I told my wife she could look through it if she wanted. When she nodded, something inside me broke. The fact that she believed I could be cheating, after everything we'd been through, really hurt. She looked through my phone and found nothing. Jessie immediately claimed I must have deleted the evidence. She started screaming and woke up our daughter, so I told her to get out of the house. Eventually she left, and I went to calm our baby since my wife was still crying on the couch. Once our daughter was asleep again, I sat down with my wife to talk. She said she'd been worried ever since I started working all that overtime. I reminded her that we had discussed it and agreed it was a good opportunity. She said it was suspicious that the project had been extended. I explained that these things happen sometimes. She wanted more proof, so I showed her emails, messages with timestamps, and pay stubs showing the overtime. She said she believed me and apologized, but admitted Jessie had been convincing her that these were all signs I was cheating. I asked her why she believed Jessie over me, why she didn't come to me first. She didn't really have an answer. It's been a couple of weeks since the project ended. I've scaled back my hours to spend more time with my wife and daughter, but I'm feeling burned out. I'm doing everything I can to keep us stable, but deep down, I'm resentful. My wife doesn't trust me, and I can't stop wondering what happens next time I have a project, or a business trip, or even just errands that take too long. Will I be accused again? I've tried bringing it up, but my wife shuts me down, saying she's too tired or sad to talk. I'm trying to be mindful of her feelings, but I'm starting to wonder if that means mine don't matter. I don't know what to do. How do I move forward from this? Update. My wife and her best friend accused me of having an affair, then got angry when I didn't have one. 270921. Thank you to everyone who offered advice and support on my previous post. Many of you pointed out something I should have realized. I need therapy myself. So I decided to find one. A few people asked for an update, so here it is, though it's not a happy one. That night, I told my wife I was going to see a therapist. I didn't link it to her accusations. I just said I was having a hard time and needed help. She shrugged and told me to do whatever I wanted. The next day, I came home from work to find our bedroom and my home office completely torn apart, papers everywhere, drawers emptied. I didn't see my wife anywhere, but our daughter was in her room crying. She had left her alone, and her phone was turned off. I called my in-laws and a few friends. No one had seen her. I was getting worried, so I called my mom to see if she could come over to babysit while I went out to look for my wife. Before my mom arrived, my wife came home. Jessie was driving. Jessie didn't come inside. She hadn't been back since I kicked her out. But my wife did. She'd been crying and looked exhausted. I asked what happened. I honestly thought maybe the house had been robbed. Instead, she started screaming that I was cheating and that therapy was just a front to meet my mistress. I tried to calm her down, but she hit me. She broke my nose. The moment she realized what she had done, she just sat on the couch, silent and staring at the wall. I locked myself and our daughter in her room and called my mom, who was already on her way. Then I called my in-laws to come take care of my wife. When my mom arrived, I packed a bag for my daughter and left. My wife didn't even look up. We dropped my daughter off with my dad, then went to urgent care. I got blood all over my mom's new Subaru. Right now, my daughter and I are staying with my parents, and my wife is with hers. I'm looking into a restraining order against Jessie. My wife and I are separating. I love her, but I can't live with someone who hurt me or who could hurt our daughter. I'm not filing for divorce yet. I'm holding on to hope that with treatment, she can recover and maybe we can rebuild someday. My in-laws are arranging inpatient treatment for her, and I've documented everything in case there's ever a custody battle. My heart is broken. I know this isn't really my wife, it's the sickness in her mind. But I need to protect our daughter and give my wife space to heal. I hope I'm doing the right thing. Edit. After reading your comments, I talked with my parents and decided to file a police report for my daughter's protection. I'm heading to the station now. Do I let the woman I fault with my wife's death speak at her funeral? 1st of September, 2021. TLDR, my wife's best friend filled her head with lies, worsening her postpartum depression and triggering the breakdown that led to her death. Now that same woman wants to speak at her funeral. Saying no will cause family conflict, but I don't know if I can stomach hearing her voice. My wife passed away early Monday morning. Jesse had convinced my wife that I was having an affair. I wasn't, which led to a complete breakdown. After that night, when she hit me, I took my baby and stayed with my parents. She stayed with hers, and they planned to take her for inpatient treatment on Monday. On Sunday night, she showed up at my parents' house demanding I hand over my daughter. I refused. She had left our baby alone before, and she'd gotten physical with me. I offered to let her come inside and visit while we supervised, but she refused. She wanted to take our daughter with her. Eventually, she left. A few hours later, she drove her parents' car into a tree and died. Yesterday, Jessie came to see me and my daughter. After crying and pretending to grieve, she told me she planned to speak at my wife's funeral. She said she had already cleared it with my in-laws, but wanted to let me know. I told her no. She would not be speaking. She got angry, said I was an asshole, and told me I wasn't the only one who loved my wife. Before leaving, I spoke with my in-laws. They insist Jessie should be allowed to speak. She and my wife had been friends since childhood, and they're close to her. We're all barely holding it together, and I know fighting about this could damage my relationship with them. But the idea of sitting through Jessie's speech makes me feel physically sick. I can't stand the thought of that woman standing over my wife's coffin, pretending she didn't help destroy her. Still, I know I'm not in the best headspace right now. I'm overwhelmed with grief, guilt, and exhaustion. My parents are split on what I should do, and I don't have the energy to reach out to friends. So I'm asking again, should I let Jessie speak at my wife's funeral or stand my ground? Thank you for listening.